What if I told you that you could make $1 million in 24 hours, even if today you are buried in debt, with no savings, no assets, no family connections, no wealthy friends to lend a hand? What if I told you that you could cross from poverty into prosperity faster than the clock strikes its next cycle? Even if you have failed in business, wasted years drifting, and find yourself now with nothing to show but regret? You would call me extreme. You would laugh in disbelief. You would whisper to yourself, "It cannot be so." But I tell you, I have seen fortunes turn in a single day. I have witnessed wealth rush toward a man as sudden as a storm, while his neighbor waited decades in vain. And I say to you now, it is not chance, it is not accident, it is not luck, it is law. A law hidden from the multitude because they would rather mock than obey. A law the rich will never shout from the rooftops because they know most men will not pay the price of definiteness. You are thinking, how? How could this be? Do not rush. If I were to give you the answer in one word, you would dismiss it as too simple, too unbelievable. That is why I will not hand you the treasure in a sentence. I will walk you into it law by law until your own mind cannot escape the conclusion. By the end of this speech, you will not only believe that great wealth can arrive in 24 hours, you will know why and how. But before I show you, let me place a warning before your eyes. If you treat this as mere entertainment, if you drift while you listen, if you take these words as inspiration but not as command, you will gain nothing. You will walk away exactly as you came, poor, doubtful, waiting for someday. This law does not honor the lazy. It bows only to the definite. Think of this. Why does one man remain stuck for 30 years in the same misery, while another secures his fortune in a single day? Why does one man accumulate nothing but bills and disappointment, while another walks into opportunity as though it were prepared for him alone? The difference is not education, not inheritance, not connections. It is something far greater, far more mysterious, and far more available to you than to the men who pretend to be your betters. Frank W. Gonzalez discovered it when he stood in his pulpit and declared, "What I would do if I had $1 million." He had no million, no wealthy allies, no earthly reason to expect that his words would be answered. Yet within 24 hours the fortune was his. Not because of chance, but because his words carried definiteness, desire, faith, and decision. He preached as though the money were already in his hands, and by morning the world had obeyed him. This is the law you are about to hear. The law that riches flee from vagueness and leap toward definiteness. The law that time itself bends when desire burns white hot. The law that money, already in circulation, is drawn to the man who commands it with purpose. You will not hear this in schools. You will not hear this from the mouths of the rich, but you will hear it here. So listen carefully as though your future depends upon it, because it does. For the next few minutes, let every other thought fall away. Hold nothing but this question in your mind. What if I too could awaken tomorrow on the road to fortune? By the end of this speech, that question will no longer be fantasy. It will be a command you can issue, if you will. Introduction. The hour hand of riches obeys fire. You ask me how soon riches will answer your call. I tell you plainly, wealth comes at the speed of your burning desire, and not one moment sooner. Men wait on years, on seasons, on fortune, while the law of riches waits on them. If a man sets his heart aflame with such intensity that his thought becomes command, the world of causes bends swiftly, sometimes in years, sometimes in days, sometimes in hours. This law is not theory, it is record. I have seen fortunes move with the suddenness of a storm after months of stillness. The timid call it luck, but the honest student knows it as the sudden reward of desire that at last reached the heat of command. When the heart burns white hot, time itself contracts. What would take decades to the wavering may take a night to the definite. Let me show you this truth through the story of Frank W. Gonzalez, a young minister in Chicago. He announced a sermon with the daring title, "What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million." He did not mount the pulpit as a beggar hoping for alms. He spoke as one who already held the key. His words carried no timidity, no speculation. They carried decision. He painted a vision of a school where young men would be trained to think and to work in the same hour, where education would not be theory without practice, nor practice without philosophy. He spoke as though the $1 million were already in his hands, as though the brick and mortar already stood, as though the voices of grateful students already rang in its halls. The next morning, a messenger came from Philip D. Armour, the great packer. "Young man," Armour said, "if you will put your sermon into deeds, you shall have your $1 million." And from that decision was born the Armour Institute of Technology. Do not miss the lesson. One definite desire declared with fire drew $1 million overnight. What steps brought that $1 million? First, a purpose written in the heart so clearly it could not be mistaken. Second, a mind heated by faith until every word carried authority. Third, a plan spoken so vividly that listeners saw it. Fourth, the courage to speak as one who commands, not as one who begs. With those 4 steps, the $1 million was not chased. It arrived. Men ask me, can wealth truly come in 24 hours? I say, if 30 years of drifting still chain you, do not quarrel with the clock. Quarrel with the drift. Yet know this, when desire reaches the heat of command, fortunes do indeed arrive with astonishing speed. Many men have awakened one morning poor and lain down at night rich, for they finally decided. You must learn to distinguish wishing from desiring. Wishes are smoke, desire is fire. Wishes drift with idle talk. Desire fixes its eyes, burns in silence, and moves the limbs to action. Frank Gonzalez did not wish. He declared. Armour did not pity. He invested. The $1 million did not stroll. It hurried, because purpose had summoned it with unmistakable fire. Understand this law. Wealth is not drawn by chance, but by definiteness. Riches are timid around the wavering. They leap toward the bold. The money you seek is already employed by someone else. It will change hands when you prove the stronger master. The purse of the world is not scattered at random. It flows to order, to clarity, to strength. Do not waste your breath on luck. Luck is the name weak men give to the harvest of definite men. When you hear a rich man shrug, "I was fortunate," look behind him. You will see ledgers of definite figures, pages of plans, councils of allies, records of services rendered before reward. He speaks of fortune because he knows the crowd will not believe in method, but method is what crowned him. And now you would know the method. Here are the 7 rules that, when obeyed together, form the band success formula. They will sound like iron to ears, softened by drift, but to the ready they are keys to command. Use one without the others and you will limp. Use all together and you will run. Before you take the first step, bind yourself to a vow. Say aloud, "I will no longer drift. I will write my purpose. I will heat it with faith. I will bind myself by decision. I will plan and move. I will enlist allied minds. I will give more than I am paid, and I will insist upon results." That vow is your passport across the border that separates drifters from masters. Ask me again how soon wealth can arrive, and I answer with the story you have just heard. The distance between want and wealth was 1 night's sleep. The sermon was not magic. It was definiteness with heat. The same law is waiting upon you now. If your desire is lukewarm, do not accuse the law. Kindle your fire, and the hour hand itself will hurry. Rule 1. Write the decree. The world obeys definiteness. Wealth begins not in vaults, but on paper. The first act of a master is to put his purpose into writing. The drifting man talks in clouds. The definite man writes in stone. Take your pen and decree the exact sum you will possess, the date by which it will be yours, and the service you shall give in return. A man who will not write will not reign. Paper without ink is the birthplace of drifting. You may speak with zeal, you may dream with fervor, but until you write, you have not yet commanded yourself. Kings of industry first became kings of a page. Rockefeller wrote his figures before he moved oil. Carnegie wrote capacities before he forged steel. Ford sketched lines of motion before machines marched. Writing is creation's first discipline. Do not think it childish to write sums and dates. Money is timid around vague men, bold with the bold. If you write with clarity, you impress your own subconscious and send forth an order that infinite intelligence can translate into circumstance. Money that is not assigned wanders. Money that has a master's order hastens to serve. Name the uses for your money. The subconscious does not obey mist, but image. Write what it will buy, what service it will fund, what gift it will make. If you write, I shall acquire $50,000 by December 31st through organizing a sales company to distribute, you have struck the law with precision. Vagueness begets vagueness. Clarity begets clarity. Each morning and night, read your decree aloud. Do not mumble as one ashamed. Speak as a herald of your own destiny. Your subconscious responds not to idle words, but to repeated declarations soaked in emotion. Words clothed in heat are seeds. They fall into the deep soil of the mind, and there they root, bloom, and return as ideas, allies, and opportunities. Timid men reap timid harvests. They speak as though half afraid their words will be overheard by doubt. Speak as one who commands, not as one who begs. Speak with thanksgiving, as though the decree were already honored. Gratitude before possession is faith's signature. It convinces the subconscious that the wealth exists, and then it begins to arrange the evidence. Consider Edwin C. Barnes. He wrote his decree not on paper, but on his very life. He declared, I will be business associate to Thomas A. Edison. He did not say, I hope to work for him. He said, I will work with him. His appearance was shabby, his pockets empty, yet his decree was rich. In time, his body walked into the office where his imagination had long sat. The decree preceded the desk. Barnes's pen was his will. His ink was his determination. He spoke his partnership into existence by wearing it in thought, declaring it in desire, and backing it in persistence. The drifting young men around him sought wages. Barnes sought decree, and the decree obeyed him. Let me give you an affirmation for this law. Speak it with firmness. I decree my wealth with definiteness. My pen is law. My tongue is command. My subconscious obeys. Infinite intelligence supplies. Opportunity appears. I act. I do not drift. I write. I decide. I persist. My decree is the mold into which my fortune is poured. Repeat it until you feel it steel. You will be tempted to bury your decree under the vague shelter of someday. That is fear clothed as prudence. Do not permit it. If the date proves too ambitious, you may adjust the clock, but never adjust the definiteness. A moving hand on the calendar does not break the law, but a fogged decree dissolves into nothing. Better to err with bold precision than to rot in haze. Every empire of wealth began with a line on paper. Rockefeller wrote down figures before oil became empire. Carnegie jotted plans of capacity before furnaces roared. Ford drew diagrams of motion before wheels turned. A decree is prophecy in uniform. The world does not bow to dreams unspoken. It bows to written laws of men who refuse to drift. Guard your decree from idle chatter. Do not parade it before doubters who will sow seeds of mockery. It is your law, not theirs. Show them results, not sentences. The decree is a covenant between your conscious will and your subconscious power. Treat it with reverence. When the harvest comes, critics will say, you are fortunate. You will know you are definite. The act of writing is not mere ritual. It is command in visible form. Your eyes behold your words, your lips rehearse them, your mind absorbs them. Each sense is enlisted until the decree saturates your being. That saturation is faith. Faith is the magnet. The decree is the pole. Wealth is the iron. Once aligned, the attraction is inevitable. Say it again. My decree is my law. My pen is my throne. My words are my command. My fortune obeys me because I am definite. I am not a drifter. I am a master. I write, I speak, I act, and I persist. My decree precedes my riches, and my riches follow my decree. Barnes proved it. Rockefeller proved it. Carnegie proved it. You must now prove it. Take your pen, write, fix your sum, fix your date, fix your service, fix your plan, then speak morning and night. Carry it until your limbs obey it, until your mind sees it, until your life reveals it. This is the first law. Write the decree. The world obeys definiteness. Rule 2. Ignite the furnace. Desire until the air burns. A decree written cold is a winter sun, light without heat. It gives no harvest. Desire is the flame that turns the decree into a living law. Until your purpose becomes burning desire, it is a wish. Wishes are weak, but desire is fierce. When your heart is set aflame, the world bends, men respond, and opportunities hasten as though ordered by a general. Drifting men say, I would like to be rich, but their words carry no heat, and so nothing moves. But when a man declares, I must be rich, I will serve, I will persist, I will pay any lawful price, that fire leaps into his step, sharpens his mind, and draws allies. Desire is not passive, it is active fire, and the fire itself creates its fortune. Recall Frank W. Gonzalez and his $1 million sermon. He did not beg, if I had $1 million, perhaps I could. He set the room aflame with a vision of a school. His desire was so vivid that Philip D. Armour felt its heat from his seat. Armour supplied the $1 million not from pity but from certainty. He saw a man already in possession of the desire. This is the secret. The world does not respond to empty wishes. It responds to burning certainty. Gonzalez spoke as though the school already stood. Armour invested in fire, not in frailty. One sermon, one white-hot desire, and $1 million appeared. That is the furnace. The desire itself is the magnet, the heat, and the proof. How then do you kindle such fire? Begin by seeing your aim with every sense awake. Picture what it looks like. Hear what it will sound like. Feel what it will bring. Count the cost you will pay, and count the blessings it will deliver. The subconscious mind is moved by vivid images. Lukewarm, vague fancies leave it cold. Tie your desire to service greater than yourself. The heart burns fiercest when it blesses others. Armour gave his $1 million not because of Gonzalez's need, but because of his vision to train youth. If your desire fattens only your belly, the soul will grow weary. But if your desire builds, blesses, and uplifts, infinite intelligence lends its fire. Desire transforms you into a magnet. You will notice books, men, and occasions moving toward you as iron filings to a charge. This is not witchcraft. It is the natural law of a mind finally definite. Desire gives off a fragrance. Buyers, helpers, investors catch it. Cold thought has no fragrance, but desire makes the air burn with conviction. Say with me, I permit no lukewarm thought. My desire is fire. It heats my word, quickens my step, and hardens my will. That heat draws men, money, and means. I deserve wealth because I serve greatly. I require wealth because my purpose is large. Desire is my furnace. I stoke it morning and night. Guard your flame. Every day has chillers, idle company, foolish jest, words of fear, and news of ruin. They are buckets of water upon your furnace. Keep close to men and books that fan your fire. Keep far from those who wet your wood. Desire grows not only by fuel, but by protection. A furnace covered with ash loses its heat. Barnes kept his fire alive for years before Edison saw it. 5 years he labored in humble posts, yet in his mind the fire never dimmed. He was already Edison's partner in thought long before the contract arrived. A weak desire would have grown cold. His burning desire made the years serve as fuel until the furnace broke open the door. Desire must be written, spoken, and guarded, but above all it must be felt. Without emotion, the decree is brittle. With emotion, it glows like steel. The subconscious mind answers emotion more quickly than reason. You must therefore feel your wealth before you hold it, see it before you touch it, live it in your spirit before you live it in your home. Repeat again, my desire burns like fire. I feel it, I live it, I command it. I attract men, means, and moments because I am aflame with purpose. I do not wish, I desire. I do not hope, I decide. My furnace glows, my destiny approaches. The timid will call you obsessed. Let them. Obsession with drifting is ruin. Obsession with definiteness is triumph. Every man who altered history was consumed by his desire. Lincoln desired unity, though the nation bled. Edison desired light, though the night mocked him 10,000 times. Ford desired wheels in every home, though experts laughed. Each kept the furnace burning. So must you. Let desire consume hesitation, devour excuses, and melt fear. Each time you speak, stoke the fire. Each time you plan, throw on more fuel. Each time you act, watch the flames leap higher. Wealth is timid with cold men. Wealth hurries toward the hot. Ignite your furnace until the air itself burns. Rule 3. Speak the law. Auto-suggestion that turns brass into gold. Thought is a soldier, but words are the trumpet that sends it marching. You may think strongly, but until you speak, your thought has not yet become command. The subconscious mind does not argue with you, it accepts the voice of authority. And the only authority it recognizes is the word repeated with faith and emotion, spoken as law, never as chance. Auto-suggestion is the channel through which desire and decree are carried into the subconscious. It is the means by which thought becomes flesh, the law becomes deed. The rich practice it daily, though they rarely name it. They repeat their decrees, they affirm their power, they picture their goal while speaking it. Brass thoughts are transmuted into gold actions through this steady repetition. Each morning, upon rising, take your written decree in hand. Read it aloud as one who issues orders to an army. Do not murmur as one doubtful. Stand firm, speak slow, feel every word. Say the sum, the date, the service, the blessing. Each night, before rest, repeat it again until your subconscious accepts it as a completed fact and begins to arrange the evidence in your life. Edison commanded his mind in this way. He did not sit waiting for inspiration like a beggar. He told his inner shop what to deliver, then went to work. He spoke to his subconscious with definiteness. I will produce light. Though thousands of failures came, the inner shop kept producing ideas until at last the decree was fulfilled. Say with me, I see the sum. I name the service. I declare the date. I bless the ones who will be served. I am calm, I am grateful, I am certain. My decree is done. The evidence comes to me. I act as though I already possess it. I walk as one whose order is fulfilled. Speak it until your tongue feels like a king's scepter. Do not hurry these words. Let them drop into your mind like seeds into black soil. Too many rush through affirmations as though they were chores. The subconscious does not respond to hurried sound. It responds to steady, heated declaration. Feel the decree. Speak with thanksgiving in advance. Gratitude is faith with work clothes on. It convinces the subconscious the harvest is already yours. Remember, faith and emotion are the heat. Words spoken cold are brass. Words spoken hot become gold. When you speak with passion, your subconscious accepts. When you speak with certainty, infinite intelligence responds. The inner court goes to work silently, gathering allies, arranging meetings, bringing insights, showing paths you had not seen before. But beware errors. Do not boast to the crowd. Do not scatter your decree before doubters. Public boasting is vanity, not auto-suggestion. Gossiping your plan weakens it. Speak inwardly, not outwardly. Prove your law by action, not chatter. Men will help the worker, but they will laugh at the talker. The flower does not shout while it is seed. It works silently until it blooms. Barnes, before his partnership with Edison, repeated to himself daily that he was Edison's business associate. He had no proof, no contract, no wage worth mentioning, but his tongue rehearsed the decree until his subconscious believed it. His actions then aligned with it, and one day Edison gave him the chance. Brass thought had been turned into gold fact. Say again, my word is law to me. I obey my decree. My subconscious accepts and